Hey guys, Parker here with the Soccer Stop, where the game begins. Today we're going to be going over one of the biggest questions in Soccer Stop, and that's really the biggest differences between shoes. Now, every company does it where they'll release a high-end shoe that you'll see players wearing, and then they'll release different tiers of it. So although the shoes look the same, they're going to be very different in cost and materials. So today we're going to be looking at the Mercurial line by Nike, and we're going to go through each tier, and I'm going to explain to you the differences and why they cost so much difference. So we're going to look at first the Superflies, then the Vapors, the Veloces, and then the Victories. So like I said, we're going to start with the high-end ones here. These are actually both Superflies here. They actually have different sole plates though, and we'll go over those in a second. This is their high-end line. These usually run about $300, and that's because that's their top-of-the-line shoe. Next, they have their Mercurial Vapor, which is also a high-end shoe as well. This guy usually runs around $220, $230, and that's their it's still a high-end shoe, but not as high-end as the Superfly. And then next, they're going to have the Mercurial Veloce, which is going to be around $170. This one's going to be a little bit of a cheaper shoe compared to the other ones. This is considered to be their mid-tier shoe. And then finally, their bottom-tier shoe is going to be the Mercurial Victory, and that's going to be the lowest shoe that they have. So these all might look similar, but they're all going to have different features to them that make them that price. So let's go ahead. Let's start with the, actually we'll start at the bottom and we'll work our way up here. So this is the Mercurial Victory. It's a synthetic upper, and it's got a TPU plastic mold on the bottom. So this shoe is going to be a little bit heavier than the other ones, and the plastic on this one's going to be a little bit thicker. The plastic, because it is a little bit thicker, it's not going to provide as good a touch as the other ones, and it's also going to be a little bit stiffer on your foot there as well. So next, let's look at the Veloces here. This one, the material is going to be a little bit thinner than the other one, and it's going to be a little bit lighter as well. Now this one, they actually do their dynamic collar fit on here as well, and that's their high top that you're seeing on a lot of the shoes nowadays. The whole idea behind the high top is to kind of integrate it into being more a part of your foot as opposed to being a piece of plastic on the end of your foot. It's very common in a lot of shoes nowadays, so you'll be seeing a lot more of those here. Like I said, it's going to be a little bit lighter than the other, and the material is going to be a little bit thinner, and it's going to provide a little bit of a better touch on the foot as well. So next, we have the Mercurial Vapor. This one's going to be a lot lighter than the other there. They do a TPU mold as well, but it's going to be a little bit thinner, which makes the shoe a little bit lighter as well. The synthetic on the top's a really soft and form-fitting kind of material. It's really great to play in as well. You can see on this one, they don't have the high top that they do on the Veloce and the Superfly. A lot of people, you'll see a lot of professional players choose between this one or the Superfly, and they're both considered to be high-end shoes that you'll see players wear. So finally, we have the Mercurial Superflies here. Now this one's actually a knitted material. It's not necessarily a synthetic, but it's a knitted material. The nice thing about that is that it provides a really nice form-fitting kind of fit on there, and it's really soft once you kind of get your foot in there. It's almost like you're playing barefoot or kind of in a second pair of socks there. So finally, I wanted to go between the differences of an AG and a firm ground sole plate. So AG stands for artificial ground, so that's going to be turf, and then firm ground, that's going to be kind of your harder grasses and stuff like that. So biggest differences, I mean, the problem with playing on turf is that the little black pellets really dig into your cleats and kind of, they can start to tear them a little bit easier. So what they do with the artificial ground, they kind of do this little liner here. They actually bring the lip up a little bit higher as well so that those black pellets don't get in there as easily. It makes the shoe a little bit more durable, so you're not going to be seeing too many tears on the sides like you would with a firm ground being worn on a turf. They do these circular studs on there, and these are actually hollow. That seems to give them a better grip on the turf there. They also have tons of these little bumps on the bottom, which provide a little bit of a better grip on the turf as well. So they also, on the firm ground here, these studs are actually going to be bladed, which the bladed studs as opposed to the circular studs, especially when you're playing on firm ground, provide a little bit better acceleration and grip when you're doing kind of faster sprints here and there. So you'll see a lot of kind of outside wingers wearing something like this, forwards, players who are doing a lot of up and down, maybe not necessarily a lot of turning. So that's the kind of the biggest differences. Now this one, like you can see, the lip doesn't come up as high, so there's not going to be as much protection on this shoe when you're playing on a turf. Now, I have seen people wear these on turf, but we generally don't recommend it just because the turf can really beat it up a lot quicker. If you play mostly on turf, we definitely recommend going for something with an AG bottom just because it's going to preserve the life of your cleats a little bit longer, and that's always very helpful. So thanks for checking in, guys. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and on YouTube. We'll be posting other shoe reviews and more content that you guys will enjoy. Thanks.